Okay, so this is my lab project for the spring of 2021 in exercise 6310 motor learning. My name is Sam Colbert, and what my presentation is about a scenario I was given where an AAU basketball coach came to me wanting me to evaluate data that he had collected from his basketball team. The coach had read an article saying that shooting 2 free throws at a time was better than shooting 10 in a row, and it was better for free throw percentage. So the coach took 2 groups of athletes. Each group shot 40 free throws before practice, after practice, and the next day at the beginning of practice. And from this, the coach wants to know if 2 free throws at a time is better than 10 free throws at a time. So, what were the results? Well, after running a correlation, we see that there is a strong correlation between free throw attempts and free throw percentage. So, from that, we can see that the more free throws you shoot, the higher your free throw percentage gets. And we can talk about later of why this is in particular for this scenario. So, more results. So here you can see the standard deviations between condition 1, which is the clustered shooting, and condition 2, which is the distributed shooting. So the 2 shots, whereas clustered is the 10 shots. Then we get to see the standard deviations and comparisons of all the groups and all the tests. So the initial test, the post practice test, and the next day test. So in after running our tests and looking at the data, we saw that the highest free throw percentage was from the person who shot the most free throws, which isn't too surprising. According to the data, more free throws attempted equal a higher free throw percentage. And then since there were 250 participants, I apologize. But since there were 250 shots initially and then repeated, I assume that 500 shots were taken based on the data and the trends. So, what does all this mean? Well, the highest free throw percentage was the person who shot the most free throws, and the more free throws equaled the better free throw percentage. This could be because the athletes are younger, so any practice at this age could help improve their free throw skills. So just them practicing free throws, whether it be 2 at a time or at 10 at a time, would improve the athlete's ability to make free throws just because they're getting practice and because they are honing those skills, and it's a skill that's not fully developed yet. That's also a limitation of this scenario because, you're having amateurs and not highly skilled players do this versus, seeing maybe a professional doing it and seeing, okay, somebody who this is what they do, they are considered an expert. Does it help them? Versus it helps beginners, but for beginners in almost anything you do, any practice at something at the beginning is going to increase that skill. Over time, then the practice would need to become more of productive and good practice versus just any practice at all, because bad practice doesn't translate to improved play. Good practice does. But at the beginning, any practice tends to help increase people. It's kind of like newbie gains in the gym. You know, if somebody just starts lifting weights and they never lifted weights before, whether they're doing it correct or not, they're going to get stronger and bigger because it's a stimulus their body's never been used to. So putting these athletes through free throw tests like this and having them practice the free throws in such a way is going to help them improve because of where they're at in their development. Another limitation would be the timing that he did this. So the athletes are obviously going to be well rested pre-practice and then on the next day when they test it again. But that post-practice testing, if it was a hard practice and they're tired, could really affect that free throw percentage and could probably skew the numbers. So the main takeaway from this is that, you know, at this age, the more free throws you can get your guys to shoot, the better free throw percentage they'll end up getting overall. Also, it's not entirely clear on whether 2 free throws at a time is better than 10 free throws at a time. Because we see that the free throws, you know, equal a better shooting percentage just for shooting them, but we don't get to compare the data that we had to in game. So even if 2 free throws is better in practice or 10 free throws is better in practice, it doesn't necessarily mean it'll translate to a game. And so we don't get to see any game data to see if 2 free throws in practice actually did translate better to the game versus shooting 10 continuously. So more in-depth research would need to be done to actually get that figured out. That's all I have. Thank you. And that is it for my project.